to the channel. So today we're going to do some mods to the Axial SCX24. We'll do the mods on the bench, take it out to the backyard course. We'll see how she runs and see what kind of results we get. Stick around, guys. Alright guys, so a couple mods that we'll be doing to the SCX24. I've actually already done a few mods so far. So I have turned the battery tray around. Normally it connects right here on each side and here, but I turned it, actually cut the front pegs off so I could tilt it forward a little bit more. Actually cut some of the front of the battery tray off to allow me to slide the battery more this way. Currently right now I have it with a zip tie here because I have double-sided tape to hold the front of the tray down a little bit. Hopefully that brings just a little bit, probably a millimeter or two worth of towards the front, to bring the weight towards the middle front more on that. So I've also moved my shock mount to the upper shock mounts. I've done that because I've been playing around with the shocks, and you can see this one right here. I have a zip tie, which has been a common mod that people do, put a zip tie above the spring. And when I did that to all four, it raised it up a fair amount, which does give you plenty of clearance in the wheel wells of the body. But it was higher than I wanted it to be, so when I moved to the top, it put it back more or less looking like it was stock height, but your shocks have changed. You can see here actually on the front the modification that I have done to our to the springs shocks. It's changed the way it reacts. I have done that one, and I believe I've done this one. No, I still have these two left to do. So I'll be showing you exactly how I'm modding the shocks to make them not so soft. So the mod I'm going to show you right now, and I've already done it on this front driver tire here. Let's see if we can. So if you look at the space right here, right here, in between the tire and the steering linkage, there's a little bit more space between this one here than there is that one there. It's a lot tighter. So I got this from somebody else. I want to say Sean RC. I could be wrong on who I got it from, where I basically take the wheel off of the truck, which is what we're going to do. Take it off. You have your hex piece inside the back side of the wheel where it comes on here. You pop that out and you take an O-ring like this, and if you have them small enough you won't have to, but this one isn't quite small enough, so I actually have to cut a small little piece out, put it into where the hex would go, and then put the hex over top of it, and that gives you just a little bit wider stance. I mean, we're talking however wide the O-ring is, so a millimeter or so, but you can tell that it is slightly wider on this side than it is on that side. So once I do this side, it'll be a little wider. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this wheel, and then I'll take the take my meter mic calipers and check the total width here, and then I'll do it to the back because I have not touched the back yet. And we'll see how much more it gives us. Obviously not going to be much, but every little bit will help us on these little things. But you will also right here, that's the hex we want to get out of there. The last one I was able to pop out with the Allen. You want to be careful because when I popped it out, it sort of flew. So there we go. So it comes out. All right, so have my O-ring, and as you can see, the O-ring's a little bigger than the hole. So I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna cut a small little chunk out of it. And here you will see a piece out. I will now stick it down into the hole. There you go. O-ring is in there. Now I'm going to take my needle nose and I'm going to place the hex down in there. Try to line it up to make it easier. There. So I have it in there, and as you can tell, it is sticking out in the back a little bit because it's pushed out because of the O-ring. And so now I will just put the wheel back on, and you can tell that there's not as much thread sticking out as there is stock, so it tells you that the wheel is wider. And I do know that some companies make brass wideners and stuff. I personally, I've seen it on trucks, and I'm sure it helps as far as stability. I just feel like it's too wide, so I don't know yet how this is going to perform performance-wise, but from a look standpoint, I feel like those are too wide. So I want to try to gain some performance without going too wide, and I feel like this might be a happy medium on that because, you're literally only getting a little amount on that. So now I can see that we have more space there and more space there. So now what I'm going to do is grab my meter and got it set on millimeters. So we are at, oops. .97 millimeters on the front. So let's see what we get on the back. Uh, 96.92, so a little over a millimeter. There we go, 96.92, so a little over a millimeter wider in the front than the back. I will be doing this to the back as well, so I will do that off camera and get that done. And then next I'm going to show you how to modify the shock, or what I'm doing to modify the shock to make it a little better. So I've got to get the wheel off and get the shock off, and then I'll come back and show you. All right guys, so I have my rear shock off here. As you can see, I'd already put a zip tie like others have done, so the spring sits underneath it and it pushes your spring down and it changes everything. So what I saw somebody else had done, and I'm going to take this zip tie off here to redo my mod, I guess you could say. And I can't take credit really for this. Other people have been doing this. I'm just sort of following suit. And yes, I know there's hot racing shocks you can buy, and I very likely might go that route, but right now I just want to see what I can do. So right here, you see there's this little collar here that basically your spring sits on stock right there. So that collar can slide down. So there was somebody else, and I don't remember who it was. They took the shock apart and they flipped the collar, because you can see that collar has a lip right there. And basically it would space it down a little bit, which would do, the same thing, push the spring down. So what I'm doing is taking it apart, flipping that collar, and then I will put a zip tie in between that collar there, again pushing the spring down some more and providing more tension. So to do this, you take the top cap off, like that. Take your little Allen wrench down into your shock and turn the end off here. So basically just you're taking off the end here. Once that's done, there, that little collar comes off. I'm flipping it, putting it back in. Now I'm putting my spring wherever it jumped to here. All right, guys, so I found my spring. I have this all back together. And as you can see here, there's that collar right there. So what I'm gonna do is take the zip tie here and go ahead and start it. Get it a little small. Come in here. I'm going to pull the collar and the spring down. So let's see. There we go, like that. Pull my zip tie tight. And basically, and let the collar sit back down in there. Okay. And there we have it. So it's on there, the collar is below, so it pushes the spring down, changing the way so it goes. And then you just put it back on. So I have just this one to put on. It's done. All right, guys, so here it is. This is with modified stock shocks, like I showed you. And the shock holes are moved up to the upper. And also with the O-rings in behind the wheel hexes to give it slightly wider, so that's the height that it sits at. Here is wheel stance from the front. So we'll get it out in the backyard course and we'll see how she runs. Stay tuned, guys. And guys, so let's see what she does with some modifications. Yeah, last time I wanted to flip over right there backwards, so. guys, there you have it. New mods to the SCX24. What do you think? I do think it's performing a little better. It didn't seem to want to tip as easy, so I think we've made some moves in the right direction for the performance. I think the motor's a little weak. Steering is definitely a little weak too. I know there's some different mods out there, so I'll probably be looking into those. Actually, the motor to me is the one I noticed the most. I've stalled it many times today. So let me know what you think down below. Did you like what I did? Have you done similar things? Maybe something that's even better? Give me your ideas. Thanks, guys. See you next time.